guys, today I'm very excited as always because I wanted to show you all of my tattoos that I have all over my body. It's not going to be very well structured, like I don't actually remember the chronological order that I had them done, so I'm going to somehow mention them according to the part of my body they are on. Quick story short, I started getting tattoos done when I was 18. Yeah. And my first tattoo is actually the one I have at the bottom of my neck and my back, and it's a rose. It was done by a guy in my town called, his nickname is Lazy Factory Tattoo, I think. And I discovered his account a couple of years ago. I was looking for tattoos that looked somehow like drawings, if you know what I mean, and not like tattoos. I don't really know how to explain how I was feeling that. And that guy's specialty is doing tattoos with the end poke technique. You know, like he only uses a needle to do the tattoos, and it's a very much ancient technique because today most of the tattoo artists use the machine that you know, and that guy is specialized with that technique. And actually it's not that painful, but it's a very long process. That's why it's more expensive than getting an actual normal tattoo done with a normal machine. And I used an ink that actually has faded a bit. I don't know how to explain that, but if you compare the ink he used to other inks he used later on, because I went back to his tattoo parlor a couple of times after that, he used a lighter ink for the rose he did in my back. And I did that one in 2017 in May, I think. Yeah, I was at the beginning of my 18 year, yeah. Next, I think I actually did with the same tattoo artist the tattoo on my right arm. That is the Joe Keery Steve Harrington tattoo. And I used to be obsessed with Stranger Things on Netflix. I'm still obsessed with season 1 and season 2. I love the universe of these stories and of that show. I love most of the actors. Yeah, it's a lot of my vibe. However, perhaps I'm going to upset some of you, but I was not really into season 3. I had very high expectations of season 3. However, I was very much disappointed because yeah, I feel like I have to do another whole video on my Stranger Things obsession and opinion. Perhaps I'll do that later. But yeah, I'll explain to you why I have been disappointed with the season 3. And season 4 was not that bad. I was pleasantly surprised with season 4. If I had to do like a ranking of the 4 seasons that have come out yet, I'd put season 2 first, then season 1, then season 4, and then at the bottom season 3. Well, let's come back to my tattoos. So that Joel Keery Steve Harrington tattoo is special to me, especially because, you know, as I briefly mentioned, I like Stranger Things and their universe, and that Steve Harrington character is somehow close to my heart. For me, that tattoo symbolizes, let's say, don't focus on someone's appearances. Yeah, that's how I could sum it up, basically. If you know that character, first it seems to be a douche, and he is a douche, and later on he gradually shows who he is inside, and he's breaking his douche character and his despicable character to become a much more tender person, and he turns out to be very much empathetic and altruistic, as I am most of the time. And somehow it can be a flaw, because in the past I've often put myself aside to satisfy others' needs. But well, that's not the topic here. Yeah, to sum it up, I loved Steve Harrington's development and his humour, he's very cool. I was obsessed with Stranger Things when I was in uni, in my first and second year of uni. So that brings back a lot of memories. And because it is at the back of my arm, I tend to forget that I have that tattoo. Not gonna lie. Like most of my tattoos, I tend to forget that I have them. And yeah, the whole symbol of don't focus on someone's appearances and don't criticize someone for what it looks like is an echo of my teenage years and my youth years, as I was being bullied at school for what I looked like and my shy personality. And obviously in the latest years, Joe Keery, the actual dude behind Steve Harrington, has released a couple of songs, and with a group, because he's part of a group called Joe, if you don't know that group. It's really nice, it's indie, I'd say, and it's unique. Yeah, their genre is very much unique. I love their music, especially their 2020 album, and some of their songs in the latest album are good too. I feel like I've spent much time talking about that tattoo and rambling around that tattoo. Let's move on to another one. Actually, you know what? I feel like I've done the next one before the Steve Harrington tattoo. Yeah. So number 2 was the maple leaf that I also have on my right arm. It's something very special to me, as I did it to honor and to pay homage, let's say, to my holiday in Canada. In 2017, I went to the French-speaking part of Canada, Quebec, and I worked there for more than a month, and I had a spare time at the end. It was very cool. I went to New York for a couple of days at the end, and most of the time I was next to Montreal with people that I still talk to. It was a very special time, and also the very first time that I went abroad for that long with strangers, and that I was by myself. Yeah, perhaps I'll talk about that experience in a future video, but yeah, there's a lot to talk about here. I came back from Canada. It was at the end of my first year of uni. In November, I think, I did the Steve Harrington tattoo because I was obsessed with season 2 that came out at that very moment. I may be lying, not sure about all these facts. Let's continue with my right arm. On this arm, we also have the one I have there. And that one was actually done by someone else. I went to one of the biggest towns of my country. My tattoo artist mentioned him at some point in a story or in a post, and his style intrigued me as it looks retro, vintage, and it's kind of similar to my other tattoo style. This one was quite painful. It was the first one I had done with a machine, and all the shading was a nightmare to go through. It was the hardest part. Is that a sleeve? Not sure, but it looks very cool. I love the design of it. It looks very retro, and actually I think it's part of a special tattoo genre that I don't know the name of. But you know what, if I had to classify that one, I'd put it in the category with, you know, the gypsy women, the tattoos of gypsy women and of tigers. You might know what I talk about. This one could symbolize my love for flowers, I'd say, and also delicacy, and again it resonates with my altruistic, do we say altruist or altruistic? I think it's altruistic. It resonates with my altruistic side because it's like a hand giving flowers. Yeah. Finishing off with the last tattoo on my right arm, that is the heart with blood drops and the eye in the middle. Looks like the eye is crying and that the heart is crying as well. It was done by the same tattoo artist that did Steve Harrington, the maple leaf, the rose. Did that one still with the hand poking technique, but if I remember correctly, he changed his ink. It's much darker than the Steve Harrington one and the maple leaf and the rose. Yeah, oops. Yeah, it's much darker. He published it on a flash post. It was part of many others hearts designed with eyes or without eyes. This one is kind of deep because it represents my heart's wounds, and I could say that the eye inside the heart is how I used to act and think. Now I have matured a bit, but in the past I was led by my emotions and my heart and my passions. It was like my eyes were at my heart level. It's kind of hard to talk about things that depict you and that resonates with your inner soul. The right arm is done, I think. Now moving on to the left arm, I have there the design that you have on the cover of Green Day's album American Idiot. And if you know me and if you've watched previous videos that I've done, you already know that I am a Green Day fan. I have to admit it. I don't like all of their songs because some of them are boring to my ears and not particularly echo my emotions and my needs and my likings. However, that American Idiot album is my favorite album of all time. Close to that first position, there would be the Fame Monster by Lady Gaga, which is an album that I love as well. It's very sentimental to me. I'm not going to ramble again about my love for Green Day, but I love the symbol of that design. It's simply a hand holding a hot grenade, bleeding, and it's conveying pain and wounds again, weakness, but rebellion at the same time. That tattoo was done again by Laser Factory. At the back of my left arm, there's Marty McFly. You might know again that I love Back to the Future. It's one of my favourite movies of all time. I first watched that movie when I was a kid, and I'd not say that I fell in love with that movie, but most of it is so cool to me and so innovative, and I love the whole vibe of going back in time and meeting your parents when they were young, all the 80s vibes and the retro vibes. It's up my alley. It was a conscious move to decide to get a blank face, yeah, in case it looked bad. And that tattoo was once again done by the same tattoo artist that did most of my tattoos. On my left arm we have as well a Japanese writing that means golden child, and my actual first name has the same meaning in some way. It was done by a friend of mine that I know from secondary school. She used to be an apprentice in a tattoo shop. She did that one with a sort of machine, like, you know, the tattoo machines that are shaped like a big pen. And there's another reason why I love that tattoo. I wanted to get it because when I was in my teenage years in secondary school, and that time was a very hard time for me, as you might know, I spent a lot of time getting shelter on a forum, on a blog, and we talked a lot about One Piece. Yeah, I made some friends up here. It was a very nice time. I loved One Piece at the time. I watched it almost every night when I came back from secondary school. Yeah, that friend also did the one I have behind my right ear, and that is a quarter of moon, or a croissant of moon. Might be kind of cliche like the rose, but I love what the moon symbolizes. I'm fascinated by the moon and by the night and how it shines in the night. She did it the same day that she did the Japanese writing, and I actually went to see her with my best friend, and she got 1 or 2 tattoos as well. And if you believe in astrology, that moon resonates with my moon sign, which is Pisces, and for many reasons I relate to my moon side. That friend also did a tattoo on my right ankle, and that represents a girl that is blooming with flowers, and it's actually something that she posted on her insta pinned stories. It was design that she did, and that I felt that was cool. Finishing off with tattoos I have on my back. Well, actually that's a lie, there's another part of my body I need to talk about. On my upper leg, my thigh, there's the last tattoo that my beloved tattoo artist did. The guy, he copied a picture of Green Day, of course, and that was a picture that I love. They were very young on that pic, and they used to do such cool looking photo shoots when they were younger. And actually on my Pinterest board I have a whole file dedicated to old Green Day photo shoots. I actually talked about the rose. At the bottom there's a dag, a small knife, a small sword that was done by a guest that went to my tattoo artist's shop 2 years ago, I think. It was a very nice guy, but that tattoo was very expensive for what it was. He actually forgot to do the line between and to do some shading and to fill it in. So I actually came out of the shop with a blank sword. It was not filled in at all. But my regular tattoo artist was nice with me and he actually offered to do some shading in and do the lines that you can see on the handle and things. So it looks better now, but I'd love to get it rearranged a bit with other shading and stuff at some point. It does not have a particular meaning, I just love swords and their symbol in the tattoo world. At the very bottom of my back, just above my butt cheeks, there's that snake that was done by a guy in my town, and contrary to the sword that is at the top, it was shaded in well. Again, I love what the snakes symbolize in the tattoo world and they look cool. I forgot to talk about the tattoo that I think I have on that arm. Oh yeah, it's a tattoo that I did when I was in Italy by myself in 2022, I think, in September. And I was excited to get a tattoo abroad on a solo trip. That dude was very nice. It was easy to communicate with him as I speak Italian a bit. It was a very nice experience. And the tattoo was not that expensive for the quality of it. It says "My Pew," which means never again. That represents my desire to be less weak. I mean, we still need the weakness moments in our lives and it's normal to have them, but I tend to criticize myself a lot and to put pressure on my shoulders a lot, and that is very heavy on a regular basis. That's why I wanted to remind myself not to be too harsh and to avoid getting heartbreaks. You know what? I'm such a pea brain. I forgot to talk about the tattoo I have right here. It was tattooed by a girl. It was the last tattoo that I did, I think. Yeah, it was the last one. It was quite expensive for what it was. I mean, I understand that tattoos have to be expensive to honor the tattoo artist's work. However, she asked me to pay her like more than €100 for such a small tattoo that was done very quickly. Like, it was done in 20 minutes, I think. And it's done with a very light ink. Yeah, it's very discreet. Well, I'm finally done. I hope that it's been interesting to you and I'll probably do an update in the future. My goal is to get tattoos when I go abroad on solo trips or on other trips, but abroad I'd actually love to get tattoos up here on my chest. That's the next ones I want to get. I wish you a great day, great night, and I'll see you in a future video.